Parlando di moralità, Mr. Rawlings, lei dopo 20 anni di presidenza ha dei conti correnti all'estero?
As I sit here now, I am opening. My wife and I are trying to open an account, in Europe. One, because we're also setting up a foundation. But you better listen to me carefully. Until I left all my life, together with that of my wife, until I left office, schooling, officer, and until I left office in the year 2000, I never had a foreign account. Never. The CIA, the German intelligence, British MI5, your Italians, the French, all of you can go and look into every bank account and to tell the world whether my wife and I ever had $1, 1 penny anywhere in any bank in any part of the world before I left office. I never did. Interestingly, and it never occurred to me, I had no desire for it. The only time it struck me that I needed a foreign money was when my wife was ill. And it was a situation we could not deal in my country, in Ghana. And we looked for the most affordable place, which was in a university in Europe. That was the first time I suddenly realized how naked I was in terms of, I couldn't even save my wife's life, a very noble lady who had been through trying times with me. That's when I started calling around the world, friends, can you help, etc. So having no account, oh, by the way, before I left office, we knew she was going to have this operation, so we had even put a little money aside. I think it was about $22,000 it was going to cost us. My wife is asthmatic, and over the years, it has developed its side effects, both in her intestines and other complicated places. So it was going to be quite an expensive, this thing. And you listen to me carefully. I was looking around the world. Anybody help me? It's not for myself. I have no account. This is the address of the hospital. This is how much it's going to cost. I mean, it was the most shocking, painful experience I'd been across, that I could hardly get any assistance early enough. My government, who knew, the new government, who had taken over from me, who knew I needed help, and that we had made preparations, refused. On the last day before we were to leave, she was supposed to be on the operation table on the 22nd of a certain month. 2 days before, that's when I got a letter from the president's office, a 3-page letter, conditions I had to fill, a whole lot of rubbish. We got a ticket, we flew to London. This president, or this man who was a president who had been in office for almost 20 years, 10 years, 18, plus whatever it is, 8 plus another 2, almost 19, 20 years. I had no dollar account anywhere, and I had to stop in London to borrow money from someone so that I could go and do my wife's operation. You listen to me carefully. About 8,000, to take care of her needs, etc., into the hotel. 22,000 it was going to cost us, either dollars or euro. I think it was dollars, into the hospital. When the operation, after a while, I had to leave and go back to Ghana and left her. Here's the shocking part of it. After the operation was done, on borrowed money, people don't believe it, but it's true, on borrowed money, when the operation was done, she was discharged into the hotel so that she could be brought in once in a while, for checkup, a review. Can you believe that when the driver of the embassy under the new government informed the ambassador that I have to take Mrs. Rawlings, for a review, the ambassador said no. In Switzerland, the Ghanaian ambassador, it happened in Switzerland, said no. The driver was so shocked, he put the embassy car key on the table, went and used his own personal car to go and drive my wife to the hospital for the review. This is the kind of vicious, petty-mindedness that you can sometimes run in parts of the world in terms of my relationship with this character that, your Western powers or the Western powers have promoted, and they're trying to sanitize his image as if he's the cleanest, finest head of state in Africa. It's absolute rubbish. He's a criminal. He's a thief. He went around telling the world, wrote a letter to every bank around the world that I had stolen suitcases of money into bank accounts. I was trying to kill him, make a coup. I had stolen 19 cars, etc. All of them were false. I will not tell you something that the bank, it took 3 months for me to be able to open a bank account through somebody. Finally, when the bank manager was going to open that account for me, do you know what he told his Swiss friend? You can come and do it. Every day he goes there. Is it open? Is it open? Is it open? Finally, after 3 months, the man told my friend that he is one of the few African heads of state who does not own a foreign account. You can now come and open the account for him. I mean, the point I'm trying to make is, look at the difficulty I had from my own government, from outside. But then the other side of it is that to be so mean that not even the driver could send my wife for a review. That ambassador, for being so, he was so mean, the government withdrew every protocol facility as a former head of state. I have to carry my own suitcases, never mind. They even tried to get Swissair not to give me protocol. And Swissair told them, hey, you don't do that. They tried to campaign with other governments. Don't give this man protocol facility, etc. And yet, I'm supposed to have been the man who turned the situation round in Ghana, in West Africa. So in effect, what I'm trying to say is that we've had a pretty rough time, but the more you show hatred towards your opposition, sometimes towards us, the more you get promoted in some parts of the world. It's not healthy. I mean, we must begin to stop treating oppositions and ourselves as enemies. We must begin to rather engage in constructive relationship, constructive criticism, and not attempt to destroy and to see the opposition as your enemy to be destroyed. I mean, factories we don't have time. 2 hours, 1 hour is not enough. 30 minutes is not enough for you and I. I need 9 hours. I need 8 hours to wake you up in Italy, in Europe, to the problems we're going through in Africa. Yes.